Welcome to another M&M Gold Exchange video. This video I'm going to explain how to test some different types of gold items and help determine whether they're real or not. First off, let's take a look at some of the different things that I use as tools to do the testing. First thing we like to use is some testing acid. As you can see, there's different testing acid for different purities of gold. I've got a 10K, 14K, 18K acid. There's also 22 karat gold, platinum, and platinum and silver acids as well. I do have a standard scale that I use to weigh my items. I have a loupe, which is a very high magnifying, 10 times magnifying glass to be able to read the markings on the items. I have a scratching stone. I also use a magnet. Whenever I do my testing, I like to have a rag or a towel laid down to protect whatever surface I'm doing the testing on. I also like to keep a little container of water to drop any of the items in after I've done the testing if I've gotten any acid on anything to help clean it up. And I also like to use a paper towel to wipe off the stone or the items on the paper towel, which is also going to help determine if it leaves any bad markings behind, which we'll talk about in a second. I also have a file and a grinder, which I can sometimes use to file into the items to make sure we get past the plating, if there is any, to make sure we're getting down to the solid and pure content of the gold. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to direct you to our website. If you go to our website, which is mnmgoldexchange.com, and you go to our home page here, if you run your mouse over this section on the top left that says all about gold, you're going to see a bunch of sections about how to test your gold, which is testing gold, is my gold real, the truth about gold, how to sell my gold, and the value of gold. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look at is my gold real. The reason why I'm bringing you to this is really going to give you a tale of how to tell whether all the markings on your items, what are the common markings for different gold items. So for example, 14K gold, as you can see here, is marked as 14K. It can also be marked as 0.585. And if you read through this, it's going to tell you what these actual markings mean. The other thing we're going to look at is testing gold. Everything I'm explaining here in this video is also explained very well on our website, which you can go check that out at any time. We also have some mobile apps that are going to help you where you can read how to test your gold as well. And if you go to our website, you can download our apps on both Android and iTunes. So let's take a look at what we're going to do for testing an item. First item I'm going to look at is going to be this gold chain. And if I look through my loupe, it shows that this chain is marked as 10 karat gold. So I'm going to test this for 10 karat, and there's a couple of ways I can do it. The first way I can do it is I'm going to take the item, I'm going to do a nice deep scratch into the stone, make sure I get through any plating on the item. Then I'm going to go ahead and take my 10 karat acid, and I'm going to drop a drop of acid directly on the spot where I scratch. What I'm looking for on this stone is I'm looking for no reaction at all to the little gold marking that I left behind. This should look like a clear drop of water over that, and it should not go away at all, and it should not change colors at all. So after doing this test here, I see it does appear to be a clear drop of water, and it is good. Now normally, the thing that I actually would normally do first, but I've already tested this item, is I take my magnet and I make sure the item's not magnetic. Now sometimes you'll get an item that the end of it, or the clasp, if it's mechanical and it has a spring, it can be magnetic on the end, just like that, but the main body of the unit is not magnetic. If it is not magnetic, it means it's actually worth testing, and you can actually do the acid stone test like we did. Now there's a second way that you can actually test the item. Without using the actual stone, what you can do is you can take the item and you can either A, take the file and file into the item itself, or grind into the item itself with a nice little grinder. Sometimes I use a grinder because it's a little faster, so I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to do a quick little mark on the item, make sure that we get through any type of plating that's on that. I'm going to go ahead and place this on the towel to protect it. I'm going to take my acid and I'm going to drop it directly on the spot where I left the little grind mark. And again, I'm looking for absolutely no reaction. I'm looking for it to remain like a clear drop of water. And that's exactly what has happened here. It looks like a clear drop of water. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off. I'm going to dip it in my water bucket to clean it off. And I'm going to put this in a pile that says this item is good. Now, we're going to try this same item, but let's say that we thought the marking said 14K, or maybe it did not have a marking. If I do this same scratch test, and then I drop a drop of 14K acid on there, what will actually happen is, instead of it looking like a clear drop of water, it can have one of two things happen. Usually what will happen is the little gold marking that I left behind on here is actually going to turn a much darker, brownish, rusty color looking on the mark, so it's actually changing the color of the yellow gold to a much darker color. What that's doing is it's telling me that this is actually a lower carat than the acid that we just tested it. So instead of using the 14K, we would repeat the test with 10K. Or if we started with 18, then maybe we'd go down to 14 or 10. And the trick is to actually try to match the correct acid with the correct purity of gold that you have. So this is telling me it's not 14K, and as you know, we tested this as 10 carat and it appears to be good. So I'll put that in the pile for 10 carat. Let's grab our next item here. This item I'm again going to look at with the loupe. It has a maker's mark on here. It just says Monet on it, and it doesn't have any other markings on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this magnet and I'm going to go ahead and put it on the unit itself. Wow, this is very magnetic. You can see my magnet actually pick up the actual item itself. So gold is not magnetic; it's a non-ferrous metal, which means this is not real. So this isn't even worth testing with acid. So we're going to put this in the bad pile. We're going to grab another item. This item, again, this item is actually marked as 14 karat gold. So let's go ahead and test this to see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and make a mark here. I'm going to make a big long mark so that we can actually try more than one type of acid if we want. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 14 karat acid drop on there. And the acid drop actually disappeared immediately. All the gold markings are completely gone. So we're going to try a lower carat acid because we know it's not 14 karat because it should stay clear like a drop of water. I'm going to drop a drop of 10 karat acid on there, and once again, almost immediately, you can see that the gold markings are fizzing and going away completely. So that is telling me that this item is not gold. And what I want to do is I want to take it one step further and do a little deeper testing on this. I'm going to do a deeper testing with the grinding wheel. So I'm going to go ahead and grind a spot right into it. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on my protective rag here, and I'm going to drop a drop of acid directly on the unit itself. And we're going to wait for a reaction. And the reaction that I'm actually getting right now is it is fizzing up in a very green type of bubbling that's occurring directly on the metal. That's telling me that this item is not real gold, and that it was either sold as a counterfeit type of item or it was mismarked. But this item is fizzing up even with 10K acid, so obviously we know it's not a higher carat acid. And the other thing that can occur after this item has fizzed up quite a bit, I like to use the paper towel because when I wipe it on there, you can actually see then the green markings that are left behind sometimes from the actual bad item. So again, wipe it in the water and clean it off because you do not want to get this acid on your fingers, as it will turn your skin different colors and actually dry off your skin until it falls off. But it's really not super dangerous. Just be careful and have the water close by. Thanks for watching this video on how to test gold.